These are two of the most packable sandals I've ever tried. They fold almost flat, weigh next to nothing, and they're built around a barefoot philosophy that completely changes how shoes feel. This is the ZuZu Drift and the ZuZu Flow. And full disclosure right up front, this video is sponsored by ZuZu. They sent me these sandals to test and review and film this video, but all of the opinions contained within are definitely my own. I rarely take sponsorships, and I only take them for products that I actually believe in. Honest takes are still honest takes, and if something doesn't work, even if it's a sponsorship, I will certainly tell you. As you know, for the last 2 years, I've been traveling personal item only, which means every cubic inch of bag space matters. And shoes are typically the worst offender. They're heavy, they're bulky, they take up a ridiculous amount of room, and it's something that I often leave out of my packing setup, and I try to just bring one pair, because I don't really have the space to give up. So when ZuZu reached out about reviewing 2 of their sandals, their packability was the angle that immediately got my attention. Because if a sandal can pack flat enough to kind of disappear into a bag and really make my packing effortless, it solves a real world problem for anyone who's trying to travel light. Today, we're going through both sandals. The Drift, the Flow, what makes each one different, how they actually feel to wear, and why I think they're a really smart addition to your personal item travel. Let's get into it. But just a quick context on ZuZu as a company before we get to the sandals themselves. They're built around that barefoot footwear philosophy, which is the idea that your feet are stronger and healthier when they're allowed to move naturally. Most modern shoes restrict your foot, they cushion it, they support it, they squeeze it into a shape that's not actually how feet are designed to function. Barefoot shoes do the opposite. Wide toe box so your toes can splay, flat sole so your foot can flex naturally, minimal padding so that your foot can actually feel the ground. There's some real science behind this. People who transition to barefoot footwear over time often report stronger feet, better posture, fewer foot problems. It's not just a trend. And as someone who's worn barefoot shoes exclusively for the past year or so, I can really attest to that. Especially in my case where I have really flat feet, I found that wearing barefoot shoes, barefoot sandals, barefoot boots, zero drop, has really improved my posture, really made my feet feel better. I'm able to walk around for 7-8 hours and not get those like shin splints or quad pain. And I definitely think it's made my feet stronger. Another great quality of ZuZu is that they focus so intensely on sustainability and customization. 2 things I love in any brand. Their materials are responsibly sourced. The Flow has interchangeable straps so that you can easily change the look without buying a whole new shoe. They're a small brand that's doing so many thoughtful and intentional things, and that really matters to me. Let's start with the Drift. The Drift is the more structured of the 2 sandals. It's designed to be your daily wear, the one you reach for when you need a sandal that can handle real walking, real distance, real activity. The sole has more substance to it, while still maintaining that barefoot flat profile. The strap system is fixed. What you see is what you get. No swapping, but that means it dials in once and stays comfortable with these little Velcro straps here. You can easily adjust it. but the straps themselves are locked in and you kind of get what you get. Here's what I noticed putting them on for the first time. The fit is wide. If you've been wearing conventional sandals your whole life, the toe box feels a little bit different. There's space. Your toes can actually move. The sensation takes a little getting used to, but it's genuinely better once you adjust. The barefoot feel is real. You feel the ground through the sole, not in a painful way. There's enough material between your foot and the world to protect you from sharp things. But you feel the texture of the terrain. Cobblestone feels different from concrete, which feels different from grass. Most shoes flatten all of that into one homogeneous sensation. The Drift lets you feel where you are. The comfort over distance is the one thing I was most skeptical about. Barefoot footwear has a reputation for being uncomfortable on long walks because there's less cushioning, but I walked in them all day long, city, beach, hiking, trail, and they held up. My feet were tired the way they get tired from any long day, but no hot spots, no blisters, no pain, better than most sandals I've worn for the same distance. And packing them is where the Drift really shines. They lay completely flat, so you can either put them on top of each other and make it about this height, or you can put them side by side, kind of alternating. And then you have a nice flat profile that you can stick into a laptop sleeve or one of those back sleeves in a main compartment. Not like a flip-flop where the strap pokes up and gives it extra height. It's genuinely flat. They take up almost no space in a packing cube or in a bag secondary compartment. I packed them into the Air CityPack Pro 2 alongside everything else and barely noticed they were there. The only thing different about this that I like a little bit better about the Flow is that there's a fixed strap on this one, so you don't get to customize it as much as you would on the Flow. If your foot doesn't quite agree with this strap geometry in particular, you may want to consider the Flow. For me, it really worked, but it's worth trying them on if you have any unusual foot shape concerns. If you just take this packing cube out like this, put this in this little back sleeve here, lays super flat, then you can just put your large Air packing cube right on top of it. Now the Flow. The Flow is the more versatile sandal. It's lighter, more open, and the big differentiator is the replaceable strap system. You can swap straps to change the entire look of the sandal. Different colors, different patterns, different materials. This one's nylon, you could go with leather, different colored leather. One pair of soles, multiple looks. That's a meaningful sustainability story because you're not buying a new sandal every time you want a different aesthetic. You're just changing the strap. And it's super easy to change the strap. As you can see, there's this little bead on the bottom, and when you get one of the replacement straps, you just take the little metal bead and you make sure it's at the end. You string the strap through this little hole, pull it tight, wrap it into this back left one, wrap it around your foot, back through this one, back across the heel, and through the little included metal buckle, and boom, you have a whole new strap ready to go. Super easy to adjust. I know this tendril looks a little bit long, but the point is they have really great tutorials for how to change the strap and fit it to your foot on their website and on YouTube. So the point is, because I got these recently, I want to wear it at a certain length for a period of time and make sure that's comfortable. And then once you're comfortable with it, you can just snip off the excess strap, seal it with a lighter or something, and you can do it just like they did it down here. And then you have the perfect custom length for your strap. And it's really nice that if you want a leather look, you can go with the leather strap, stay with the nylon. I really like this sage green nylon. I think it looks really nice with the black. And I just think it's a great way to customize your shoe without having to buy a new pair. The wear feel is even lighter than the Drift. Less material between your foot and the ground. More of that pure barefoot sensation. If the Drift is your daily workhorse, the Flow is your evening sandal, your beach sandal, your casual lounge sandal. And I really like the way the strap looks up against my foot. I think it's a really attractive strap design. And it's really nice that that strap swap requires no tools. You just unbuckle it, thread the strap through, pull the little button out at the bottom, boom. Slide the new one in, wrap it around, buckle it, and you're good to go. The straps lock in really securely once they're on. They're not coming loose accidentally. Style versatility is the second part of the Flow's pitch. Because you can swap straps, you can dress the same sandal up or down. A more refined strap with linen pants for dinner, a more casual strap with shorts for the beach, same shoe, completely different vibe. For personal item only travel, that's huge. One sandal that adapts to multiple contexts means you don't need to pack a second pair for a different look. You could use this as an outdoorsy sandal, a more formal or like businessy sandal, or keep it more sporty and casual with the nylon strap. The packability matches the Drift in the sense of it gets flat. It's just obviously less thick of a sole, so it gets even flatter. It weighs basically nothing and it disappears into a bag. And if you look at the way this is so movable, you have the nice tread on here. I think it's made from recycled tires, so again, the sustainability factor. But it waves like no other, moves naturally with the way your foot moves. You could do almost anything in this shoe. It's so flexible that you could roll it up if you wanted to save space or use this shape profile. And then you can also do the hot dog test where you bend it like this and it looks like a taco shell. So it's extremely flexible, bendable, moldable, and it always flaps back to its original form. So it is so great to wear up against your foot, has incredible tread on the bottom, so my foot didn't slip on it even in wet conditions, and it's just a great sandal. The only minor critique is that the lighter construction means it's not the sandal that you'd necessarily want to wear for like a full day of hard walking unless you were really used to it. If your trip involves all-day urban exploration or any kind of hiking, the Drift might be the right choice, while as the Flow is for moments of lower activity and higher style flexibility, but it can also be used for running because it's based on that Huarache Mexican sandal design. So it still works even if you're going hard. It's just something to mention that if you're not used to barefoot shoes, you may need to get a little bit more used to this one because it's a little bit flatter of a sole and you feel the ground a bit more. Together, these two sandals cover the full range of what you'd need on a trip. Because of how flat these are, you can push them even flatter. Just kind of tuck them in at the top of the bag here. You can even bow them around the shape of the bag. So it makes it so versatile for personal item only travel. So let's talk about the sustainability and customization story for a minute, because this is part of what made me say yes to working with ZuZu in the first place. The materials are sustainably sourced. ZuZu is super transparent about where the materials come from and how these sandals are made. This isn't fast fashion or something that's going to end up in a landfill. These are sandals that are built to last and built with a serious consideration for their environmental impact. The replaceable strap system on the Flow is a sustainability play disguised as a customization feature. When a strap wears out, you replace the strap, not the entire sandal. When you want a different look, you just swap straps. You don't need to buy a new pair. The sole, the more durable, more expensive, more resource-intensive part of the sandal, stays in service much longer than it would in any conventional sandal. Customization is also about fit. Both sandals dial in to your specific foot. The Flow strap variety means you can find the geometry that works best for your foot shape. The Drift structure provides a more universal fit. Between the two, most foot shapes will find one that works. This is the kind of thoughtful design that's really hard to find in the sandal category, which is dominated by either cheap, disposable flip-flops or overly expensive luxury sandals that prioritize logo over comfort and function. ZuZu sits in a completely different lane. Now, the part that probably matters most for my audience, how do these work for personal item only travel? The case for these sandals as part of a travel kit is built on a few things. One, they pack flat. I cannot overstate how much space that saves compared to packing any conventional shoe. The two sandals stacked up still take up less room than a conventional pair of sneakers. Two, they cover multiple contexts. The Drift handles the active, heavy-duty part of any trip. Walking, exploring, distance, urban environments. The Flow handles the stylish part of any trip or the beach part of any trip. Dinners, evenings, anything where you want to look slightly more put together but in a minimalist way. Between them, you've covered 80% of footwear needs in any kind of warm weather trip. Three, they're super lightweight. Personal item bags often have weight limits, especially when you're in Europe and Southeast Asia. Sandals like these add such minimal weight to your packing setup, which leaves so much room for other gear. Four, the barefoot philosophy is actually really well suited to travel. Your feet swell on long flights. Your feet do more walking than usual on trips. Conventional shoes squeeze and constrict your feet, which can make both of those problems a lot worse. Barefoot sandals give your feet room to expand and recover naturally. The only honest caveat is there's obviously going to be trips where sandals are not enough. Cold weather trips, super formal occasions like a wedding with a super strict dress code, anything involving like mountain hiking where stubbing your toe could be a trip to the emergency room. These are summer and warm weather sandals. They're not all condition footwear, but for the trips that they're designed for, I can think of none better. So that's the ZuZu Drift and the ZuZu Flow. Two of the most packable sandals that I've ever tried, and a seriously great solution for personal item only travel. If you want to check them out, links are in the description below, and ZuZu was kind enough to provide a discount code if you want to save some money. The discount code is VisionSwell, and the link is in the description below. Drop a comment if you've tried barefoot sandals, or if you've found other footwear solutions that work for personal item only travel. I'm always looking for honest input and ideas from people who do the same kind of travel that I do. Thank you as always for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and watching in general. Please turn on notifications because I really don't want you to miss anything. And with all that being said, I will definitely see you in the next video. Take care.